What is up, guys? Welcome to today's video. Hope you guys are all having a great Sunday so far. I believe this video is going to go up this weekend. This is actually the closing day. We're about to close in the next couple hours here on our Gilbert flip. I know I haven't talked about it in a while. I never really like to talk about our properties when they're actually under contract, just because we've actually had two properties where people have found us on social media and actually there was issues during closing, so I kept everything under wraps. But we're actually closing today. This video is not going to get released until the deed's recorded and everything like that. So I want to give you guys a walkthrough of what it looks like. I know you guys have seen this a few times. You guys probably saw it. The last update was about a month ago when we actually listed it. It was fully staged then. These stagers actually removed all the staging yesterday, and the new owners are going to be moving in any day now. This video, I basically honestly might just sit in the kitchen right here and talk numbers with you guys, because you guys have already seen this entire house. But overall, you guys know this plan, or the plan with this property when I first originally listed it, was to kind of underlist it and just hope to go into a bidding war just because of the location that we're in. And then I also raised the commission to 3%, which is there's no set commission obviously, but 3% nowadays in a market like this is actually pretty high. We're seeing a lot of 2.25s, 2.5%. So the buyer's agent actually got an extra 0.5%, I would say, because I normally list my houses at 2.5%, or sometimes even 2.75% commission. It doesn't really matter. Anyways, we bought this property for $406,000. The wholesaler that we bought it from is actually a pretty big company out here. They got it for $380,000. So they made, I think they sold it to us for $401,000, so they made $21,000. But we also had quite a bit of closing costs on this, because we actually paid for the seller's closing costs as well, which oftentimes through wholesalers is actually quite common, because that's how they negotiate these deals. They're like, we'll pay for all your closing costs. This is your net take home. So that's what we kind of dealt with on this. So we are all in $406,000. This project start to finish 58 days, so just under 2 months. I'm extremely happy with how fast we turned this project around. There's also obviously a lot of mistakes that we made. I think on this property alone, I noticed myself getting a little bit more carried away, especially in like some of the stuff where I was like, we spent a little bit more money than I think we needed to get the same amount of offers that we got and the same actually closing, or the same purchase price that we got on this property. So it's a lesson learned for sure. Moving forward, I specifically learned there hasn't been one property where I haven't learned something on, which is great. At the same time, it's always a learning experience. I'm always getting better at what I do. So this property was definitely right in the mix with quite a few mistakes, but nothing too crazy. When I say that, I don't want you guys to think that like we did like a $20,000 mistake. These are like smaller mistakes, maybe some timeline stuff and everything like that. But like I said, it's great to know that, because on the next property, I'm just getting better and better on it. So we had a total of, I want to say 30 plus showings over this. I think it was, we listed it Thursday, and then we ended up accepting an offer on Sunday afternoon. We took an offer, and we had 30 plus showings in between Friday and Sunday, which was great. We had about 7 offers, I want to say. Every single offer that we had besides one was over asking price, and we actually had an escalation clause, which raised the total sale price of this property to $525,000. We had 2 offers come in at $525,000. One of them had a lot better terms on it, which is the one that we actually accepted. They paid for HOA. They had no warranty on the property. They bought it as is. And they waived the appraisal, meaning that we were pretty much guaranteed that $525,000. The other one was just pretty clean. It was just a $525,000 offer. They didn't waive anything, so we're like, obviously we're gonna go with this one. And then we had another one at $522,000, nothing too crazy, and then the rest of them were between like $510,000 and $520,000-ish. So it's great that we got some good feedback on this property. I kind of expected it, to be honest. I was really hoping this was gonna go over ask, and sure enough, every single offer we had was quite a bit over asking price. So we essentially listed this at $499,500, and we settled at $525,000, which is exactly what I wanted to settle at. If you guys watched the previous video from about a month ago, that's kind of what I expected it to sell at, which is great news for me. And then obviously the buyer gets a beautiful property as well. So we spent $50,000 renovation, $49,700. We're gonna round up to $50,000. We had $1,000 in actual holding costs, which was our electric bill in the summertime. So that was a couple hundred. I think it was $400 total. We had a gas bill. We had our insurance on the property, which was like $100 a month. All that equaled out to about $1,000. And then we had $27,000 in closing costs, which is something I want to talk about here. So normally our closing costs are never really more than, I would say, $15,000 to $20,000, but on this property, like I said, we offered a higher commission, which took about $3,000 off the table for us. And then we actually dealt with something during closing. They actually requested $10,000 in repairs, which previously in this video I talked about how it was bought as is. Unfortunately, sometimes when you buy a property as is, the buyer still tries to request credit for them to close, which is essentially just knocking money off the purchase price. But this was a very valid reason. The roof was actually in pretty rough condition, and this was our fault for not inspecting the roof prior to us closing on it. But we would literally, when we closed on this property, when I went and walked it, we had literally 5 minutes to walk it. There was 5 other people that wanted this property, and we beat the other one out by about 30 seconds. So sometimes you just don't have time to do full inspections. You don't have time to get your inspector out there. You just have to kind of move and groove and just go with your gut. It was a newer build, so we didn't think there was going to be too much wrong, but there was some damage to the roof from, I believe, probably some storms. Nothing too crazy, but it is going to be about a $5,000 repair when they do go to repair it. So they wanted $10,000 in closing credit. We're like, there's no way. We literally have other offers on the table that would easily beat out your $525 offer minus $10,000 for closing credits. So we're like, we'll give you $5,000. We like your timeline. They were a 3-week close, which was great. So we're October 28th, we're closing today. It's just better for us to get our money moving, to get our money out of this deal and into the next one. So we're like, you know what? We'll give you $5,000 in closing credit. We think that's fair. We obviously see the roof damage now from your inspector, but we don't think anything more than $5,000 is worth it for us, and they agreed on that. So we moved forward with that, and that's why our closing costs in total were $27,000. I always take a percent for myself because as an agent, even though I have part ownership in or equity in this property from selling it, it's still a lot of work. Like for me to be an agent on my own listing, I have to go through showings, I have to negotiate with agents, I have to talk to agents, I have to answer all these questions, I have to take all these phone calls. So for me, I think it's fair for me to take just 1% to myself, and then I obviously get equity in the profits as well. So that 1% was $5,250. I only get 80% of that, which is about $4,000 I think I'm taking home as a real estate agent, and then the rest of the profit obviously we're splitting. Me and my business partner have a rev split on that. So in total, this is the number you guys want to hear. We made $41,000 on this property. Nothing crazy. I would say our average flip this year has been a profit of about $41,000. So this is like right up the middle on it. Our direct to seller with no wholesalers, the ones that we get off like social media or like referrals, those ones usually average out at about $50,000 profit. And then the ones we get from wholesalers like this one, there's less margin in it because there's a middleman in it. So we usually go anywhere from like $30,000 profit. So this is right in the middle at $41,000 profit. And that is pretty much it. 58 days, $41,000 profit, totals out a $707 a day profit on this property, which is great for me. We currently have one supposed to close next week as well, which I love. The biggest stress as a flipper is just not having any properties in the pipeline. Right now we have 3 going on that are on the back end. Right now we have 3 properties that are kind of on the back end, so it's nice to kind of get some new properties in, and we basically have some stuff to work on over the next couple months here. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you guys have any questions down below. I'm happy to answer them. Be sure to drop a like. I really appreciate it. If you guys are interested in buying or selling here in the Arizona area, I am a licensed real estate agent. I'd love to talk to you guys. You guys can email me down below. Get yourself pre-qualified and we'll get everything figured out. And follow me on TikTok and Instagram as well.